What if one tiny math trick was the only thing standing between a genius AI and a completely broken, exploding model?
Welcome to Yurix AI. This is Lecture 20 of LLMs from scratch, Zero to Builder. Today, we're building the Layer Normalization module to keep our network stable.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our quick roadmap for today's explainer. We're going to start with why we actually need layer normalization in the first place, then figure out what it is, and then we'll jump into Python to code the layer norm class. After that, we'll look at a tiny statistical quirk called Bessel's correction, test our code, and finish up by comparing layer normalization to batch normalization.
Section 1, Why we need layer normalization, taming deep neural networks. So when we're building something like a GPT architecture, we're stacking layer after layer after layer inside those transformer blocks. And that means the parameter count gets absolutely massive. During backpropagation, as we update all those weights, gradients accumulate layer by layer. The problem is, if we just leave these layer outputs unchecked, things get out of hand really fast, leading to two totally fatal extremes. First, you get vanishing gradients. This is where the signals just get way too small, and by the time they reach the early layers, they're basically zero. Learning just completely stagnates. On the flip side, we have exploding gradients. The signals get way too big, multiply out of control, and your training becomes wildly unstable.
And that actually brings us to this other massive headache, which is called internal covariant shift. Basically, this is when the input distribution to every single layer just keeps changing as the training goes on. It's kind of like, imagine you're trying to learn how to juggle, but the gravity in the room changes every 5 seconds. That's exactly what those deeper layers in the network are feeling. Because the early layers keep updating their weights, the data they're passing along keeps shifting. So the model has to work so much harder to find a solution, which really delays convergence.
Section 2, What layer normalization is. Finding the baseline.
Now, to fix this, we use a really smart mathematical concept, and I like to use this TV volume analogy to explain it. Imagine you're watching TV, and the commercials are blaringly loud. Those are your exploding gradients. But then the dialogue in the movie is just a tiny whisper, your vanishing gradients. Layer normalization is essentially a smart volume dial. It instantly adjusts that input volume to a comfortable, consistent baseline, so the network can actually hear the data without getting its eardrums blown out or straining to listen.
To put it simply, layer normalization keeps the numbers flowing through the network stable so training doesn't blow up. If that just clicked, hit the like button.
So how does this smart dial actually work? Well, it's just a simple 3-step procedure to standardize our outputs. Step 1, we find the mean, just the average value. Step 2, we find the variance, which tells us how spread out those numbers are. And finally, step 3, we take the layer output, subtract that mean we just found, and divide it all by the square root of the variance. By doing this, we are literally forcing the output to have a mean of exactly 0 and a variance of exactly 1. Boom, a perfect stable baseline.
Section 3, Coding the layer norm class in Python, building it in PyTorch.
Okay, let's translate that math into some actual PyTorch code. To find the mean, we use this little snippet here. Output.mean, dim equals -1, keep dim equals true. So that dim equals -1 part, that tells PyTorch to calculate the mean across the embedding columns. And then keep dim equals true is absolutely crucial here. It makes sure our resulting tensor actually keeps its 2D matrix shape intact. Because if we didn't use that, PyTorch would just squash it down into a 1D vector and our math would completely fall apart in the next steps.
Now, check this out. We also add self.scale and self.shift. These are trainable parameters. Think of them as fine-tuning knobs. They let the LLM automatically adjust the scaling and shifting during training if it decides a slightly altered baseline improves performance. Oh, and one more thing, we add a super tiny value called epsilon right before we take the square root of the variance. That's literally just there to stop our code from accidentally dividing by 0.
Actually, let me stop for a second and ask you. Ever had a model blow up during training? Layer norm is a big part of the fix. Thoughts? Go ahead and pause this explainer real quick and drop your answer down in the comments.
Section 4, Understanding Bessel's correction, a small statistical nuance.
So when we're calculating that variance, there's this tiny statistical detail we need to talk about. To get a mathematically unbiased estimate, you normally divide by n-1. In PyTorch, setting unbiased equals true does exactly that. But if you set it to false, it divides by just n, giving you a biased estimate. Now, for massive LLMs where our dimensions, our n, are huge, the difference between dividing by, say, 768 versus 767 is completely negligible. So we actually use unbiased equals false here. Why? Because we want it to perfectly match the original GPT-2 setup and the default settings in TensorFlow.
Section 5. Testing the layer norm class. Proving the blueprint.
All right, let's actually test this thing. When we run a dummy batch of data through our shiny new class, the results are awesome. The mean of our output is effectively 0. Now, the code might spit out something crazy looking like 2.98 times 10 to the -8th, but that's just a tiny rounding quirk in the computer's memory. For all intents and purposes, that mean is dead 0.
And check out the variance. When we look at the output for our normalized batch, it hits exactly 1. The math worked flawlessly in the code. We successfully reset the baseline.
Section 6. Layer normalization versus batch normalization. Knowing the difference.
So, the crucial point is understanding the difference between layer norm and batch norm, because they get mixed up a lot. Layer normalization normalizes along the feature dimensions, right? It's completely independent of your batch size. Batch normalization, on the other hand, normalizes across the entire batch, meaning it is heavily dependent on batch size. If your hardware forces you to use a small batch size, batch norm just breaks down and becomes super unreliable. That's why layer norm is the go-to standard for LLMs and distributed training. It is just way more flexible.
To wrap this up, remember that stacking massive neural network layers causes huge instability, which leads to those dreaded vanishing or exploding gradients. Layer normalization fixes this by acting as your automatic volume dial, resetting the output to a mean of 0 and a variance of 1 so training stays perfectly stable. Now, I'll leave you with this. What other hidden bottlenecks are quietly sabotaging your neural networks? Like, share, subscribe to Yurix AI for a new lecture every day. Hit the bell.